it may never be perfect, but we keep working to make it better. And I think the conversations we have, we do have some time in our early dismissals for some conversations. We haven't focused on gradebook and those conversations because of the technology issues. We did have some conversations around being a writer because that writing was the other piece that was causing a lot of angst among teachers with gradebook. And some of that also is, gradebook is based on a percentage. And for the most part, a lot of these struggles are coming from the primary teachers because they've never looked at children on a 100-point scale. And so when I say to them, okay, well just don't, if the rubric is causing you a problem in writing, just use the rubric for yourself, base it on 20 points. How many points did they get out of 20? And turn that into a number. They look at me as though I have 3 heads because that's not how they evaluate student writing in the primary grades. So that becomes, again, conversation. How are some of our folks, like Nancy and Bobby and Stacy, who are doing these things at the primary level, what are they doing? And they push it out to their colleagues at their grade levels to help them make it work. But with any of this, it's a continuum because some teachers struggle more than others with this change. They feel as though some teachers I know have heard we're moving away from what is developmentally appropriate for primary children. Is this report card developmentally appropriate for primary children? Is this really a standards-based report card? So those are philosophical struggles within a person that we have to just continue an open dialogue and see where we can change things to help that process. Long-winded response. And I do sing, so okay, it is 3:27. We have 3 items left on our agenda. Keystone exams, Project Lead the Way, and Being a Writer update. I think that I can give you the Keystone exam update unless there might be a lot of question. I can probably do that before the meeting is ended, unless you think there would be, you would like me to give you several minutes for questioning. So what you see on the screen is the schedule for the testing window for May. We finished the December testing window for Keystones, and we came through that wounded, but we're intact. We're ready for biology on January 9th, and then in the spring is the larger testing window, and pretty soon we'll be in a rhythm that looks more like what you're seeing in the spring testing. Once we get through, the 11th graders who haven't had the Keystones as an end of course. So this schedule was put together with the principals. Yes, Mrs. Craney?
Don't all grade 11s take biology in the spring?
No, we are not retesting biology.
They never took it.
We're going to take it next week, Wednesday.
Oh.
January 9th.
This Wednesday,
Oh,
next
okay.
Wednesday.
Oh, I see.
Yes, the grade 11 takes it January 9th, and then we're not going to retest because it's not counting. Yeah, this is showing Algebra 1 and English Lit. And then biology for the students who will have it as a course in 9th or 10th grade. Okay, and again, you see there is an impact on the middle level. The impact across the district is that we must administer the Keystones on the same days. So the middle school and the high schools collaborate on which days. And we had considerable conversation because there is early dismissal this week. We also have AP exams. There is also a field trip, right, a music field trip. So we are trying to be very vigilant. I know the curriculum leaders have this on their radar about field trips during the testing window for Keystones. I don't think we're going to have the issues during the winter that we had this year, but we will continue to have spring testing. So we will need to be very careful about any kind of field trips. We don't have the testing schedule for 13, 14 rather. So my advice for anyone planning a field trip is to steer away from these weeks, because more than likely this is when the testing will continue the following year, is my guess. And the questions are on the agenda. There were questions that came up from parents. Will Keystones count as a final exam? Not at this time. That is a question that we need to consider and weigh, and hopefully we'll do that as part of graduation requirements task force work. And will Keystone exam scores be recorded on a transcript? Not at this time. But again, when it becomes a graduation requirement, that may change. Questions, comments?
Are we still offering incentives for children who used to do Roma?
Mr. Burley and Mr. Mulvey?
Yes.
Yes.
Fine, thank you.
And they're the same as they did.
That's fine. Thank you.
Incentives are important. Just as the end of the meeting on time is important. So it's 3:31. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Safe traveling.